ride, so I just try to imagine it in your head, and if you do it enough times, then your body will think it's real. Now, if that's a real thing or not, I don't know, but it's helped me. So usually myself.
Coco Gauff is back. Ice cream, World Cup chaos, and Ben Shelton's legendary clapback. Chatterbox is returning too. Okay, first things first. Chatterbox family, we owe you an apology. We have been gone for a while. Way too long, honestly, and we know it. Life happened. Things got hectic, but we are back now, and we are not going anywhere. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for the messages, and thank you for not giving up on this channel. We see you, we appreciate you more than words can say, and we are back with a bang, because today's story? Oh, it has everything. Tennis royalty, World Cup madness, ice cream in Berlin, a legendary press conference clapback, and a message from one of the most beloved athletes on the planet that is going to warm your heart from the inside out. So buckle up, get comfortable, and let's get into it, because Chatterbox is officially back in business. Let's start where the heart of this whole story begins, with Coco Gauff herself, and the message that stopped the internet in its tracks and reminded every single fan why they fell in love with this young woman in the first place. After what has felt like a stretch of quiet, of waiting, of fans refreshing their timelines hoping for a sign that everything was okay.
You fill your cup off the court with your friends and things like that, and I feel like a lot of times as an athlete, people want to tell you things to help you on court, and that was like the first time I feel like someone gave me some advice that had nothing to do with tennis that actually will help my tennis.
Coco broke her silence in the most Coco way imaginable, with warmth, with gratitude, with that signature energy that no amount of pressure or scrutiny has ever been able to extinguish. She said it simply, but the simplicity was the whole point.
Like, your mind doesn't know the difference between your reality and fiction in your head, so I just try to imagine it in your head, and if you do it enough times, then your body will think it's real. Now, if that's a real thing or not, I don't know, but it's helped me. So usually myself.
Been doing this for a minute now. The most important thing is staying healthy and enjoying the ride with the people who matter. Read that again. Let it sit with you for a second. Because in a world where athletes are constantly under the microscope, constantly being pushed to perform, to grind, to never slow down, never show weakness, never admit that the weight of it all sometimes gets heavy, Coco Gauff stood up and said no. The most important thing is not the ranking. It is not the trophy. It is not silencing the critics or dominating the headlines. It is being healthy. It is enjoying the ride. It is the people who matter. That is not a statement from someone who is defeated. That is not a message from someone who has lost her way. That is a statement from a young woman who, at an age when most people are still figuring out who they are, has already figured out what truly counts. And that kind of clarity, that emotional intelligence wrapped in a soft, powerful sentence, is exactly why Coco Gauff is not just a tennis player. She is a cultural force. She is a movement. She is someone people believe in not just for what she does on the court, but for who she is when the cameras catch her in her most honest moments.
Tournament, and he said that he had an image that I was going to go make it to the final, and he was going to wear that shirt if I did. And I think just imagine that your dreams can come true, and you just got to keep working for it. And my mom in that video, as you can see, went absolutely insane. I've been laughing at that video all night.
And speaking from the chest, from the gut, from a place of genuine peace. She had taken time to rest, to recharge, to be with family, to reconnect with the joy that originally drove her to pick up a tennis racket as a little girl who had absolutely no idea she was about to become one of the most talked about athletes of her generation.
But for others, it was something else. And true to form, Coco Gauff did not ignore it. Coco's never afraid to speak her mind, so she took to social media, activating accounts that had been deleted for a while. She said, "I am not going to apologize for the way that my hair looked. There are other girls who have this hair."
And that is the thing about Coco Gauff that the critics, and yes, there have been critics, never seem to fully understand. They look at a tough tournament result, and they call it a slump. They look at a period of rest, and they call it retreat. But what Coco has always understood, and what her message reminded everyone of, is that longevity in this sport requires more than talent. It requires wisdom. It requires knowing when to push and knowing when to breathe. It requires the kind of self-awareness that most people twice her age have not yet developed. So when she tells you she stepped back to focus on health and family, that is not a white flag. That is strategy. That is intelligence. That is Coco Gauff operating on a level that goes far beyond the tennis court. For years, and we have to say this because it is simply true.
I don't know, one of those adrenaline type things, and sometimes you're like, dang, I wish I would do that. I like to have a chance to go out for a one, but
Coco Gauff has been pouring into the lives of the people who follow her. She has brought inspiration into living rooms around the world. She has given people something to believe in on days when believing in things felt difficult. She has carried the weight of expectation, of representation, of being a symbol for so many communities and so many dreams, and she has done it with a grace that is honestly staggering when you think about how young she still is. So if she needed a moment to rest, if she needed to step back and let the people who matter most to her fill her cup back up, then that is not just understandable, it is deserved. It is necessary. And we are all better off for it. Because a Coco Gauff who is genuinely healthy, genuinely happy, and genuinely grounded is a Coco Gauff who is going to show up and remind the world exactly what she is capable of. Because make no mistake, she is coming back. The grass court season is here, and Coco Gauff is arriving at it with her eyes wide open and her ambitions fully intact. Picture the scene. You are Coco Gauff. You are in Berlin, Germany, preparing for your first grass court tournament of the season. You have had your training session. You have done your preparation. And now, in a moment of pure human normalcy that professional athletes rarely get to enjoy, you decide you are going to go get some ice cream. That is it. That is the plan. Ice cream. Simple. Peaceful. A little slice of ordinary life for someone whose life is anything but ordinary. People. Everywhere, flags flying, cars honking, strangers hugging strangers, the kind of collective joy that you genuinely cannot manufacture and that you genuinely cannot escape. And right in the middle of all of that, trying to get her ice cream, was Coco Gauff. She captured the moment on her Instagram stories, posting a video with the caption that has since taken on a life of its own. POV, you're in Berlin trying to get ice cream when Germany wins. The brevity of it, the humor of it, the sheer perfection of that phrasing, it is very Coco. It is exactly the kind of self-aware, effortlessly funny content that makes people feel like they actually know her, like she is not some untouchable superstar, but a real person who sometimes just wants a scoop of vanilla and ends up in the middle of a national celebration instead.
Hey, go Kristen Pulisic, Captain America, let's go. I didn't see the last two. I hadn't seen Mexico's match, and I didn't get to watch USA because of time difference. But I'm supporting Team USA, obviously. So go Team USA, go Kristen Pulisic, Captain America, let's go.
But there is something beautiful underneath the humor of that moment, something worth sitting with for just a second. Because Coco Gauff, this American tennis star who has every reason to be completely insular, completely focused on her own world, her own sport, her own tournament, was out there in the streets of Berlin, experiencing the magic of a World Cup city in real time. She was watching German fans pour their hearts out for their team, feeling the energy of a global sporting event that transcends language and borders and everything else. And she genuinely seemed surprised by it, delighted by it, moved by the sheer passion of it. And that is something fans have always loved about her, the curiosity, the openness, the willingness to experience the world beyond the bubble of professional tennis. Coco Gauff has never been someone who exists only in the world of tennis. She has always been someone who is paying attention to everything around her, who finds joy in the unexpected, who sees the whole picture. The ice cream story is a tiny moment, almost throwaway in its simplicity, but it says so much about who she is as a person. Now, Coco and soccer are not strangers to each other. She has spoken before about her love of the sport, about the desire to one day see the United States national team lift the World Cup trophy. And with this year's tournament being co-hosted by the USA alongside Mexico and Canada, that dream feels closer than ever. The American team opened the tournament with a statement, defeating Paraguay 4-1 in their first group stage match. Coco Gauff, who have always had a foot in multiple sporting worlds, are right there in the middle of it all, feeling every bit of the electricity. But here is where the story gets even richer, because Coco is far from the only American tennis player caught up in World Cup fever right now. The crossover between tennis and football is real, it is documented, and it is producing some absolutely iconic moments. And nobody delivered a more iconic moment in the lead up to this World Cup than the one and only Ben Shelton.
This is going to be a nightmare to clean up. First and most important, I want to thank God. Nothing possible without. So that's what's most important to me.
Oh, Ben Shelton. Where do we even begin with this man and his absolutely glorious press conference moment that sent the entire internet into a frenzy? Because what happened here was not just funny. It was not just quotable. It was a masterclass in holding your composure, reading the room, and responding to a provocation with exactly the right combination of wit, loyalty, and just enough shade to make everybody watching lose their minds. Here is the setup. An Austrian journalist, and we have to stress this detail because it becomes very, very important, walks into a press conference with Ben Shelton ahead of the World Cup and decides that the bold strategic decision he is going to make, is to come for the United States national soccer team, right to the face of an American tennis player. He asked Shelton how invested he will be in the World Cup, and then, and this is the part that had people replaying the clip over and over, he describes the U.S. team as really bad.
Just a couple of weeks away is the World Cup in your home country. How invested will you be in that World Cup? And the U.S. team looks really bad. So what do you think?
Where are you from?
I'm from Austria. We look good. We look good, I'll tell you that.
I don't know anything about the Austrian football.
Now, there are about a dozen ways you could respond to that question if you were Ben Shelton. You could be diplomatic. You could be evasive. You could give a polished, non-committal answer about focusing on your tennis and wishing everyone the best. But Ben Shelton is not that kind of player, and he is not that kind of person. And what came out of his mouth next?
I'm from Austria. We look good. We look good, I'll tell you that.
I don't know anything about the Austrian football team. I haven't heard any news, but obviously always gonna back the USA on home soil. I was thinking that at first you were French, and I would have given you that because they're very...
He asked the journalist where he was from. Osh support the USA on home soil. And then, in what might be the single greatest pivot in press conference history, he said he had initially thought the journalist might be French. And if he had been French, fair enough.
Where are you from?
I'm from Austria. We look good. We look good, I'll tell you that.
I don't know anything about the Austrian football team. I haven't heard any news, but obviously always gonna back the USA on home soil.
It was culturally sharp. It was smart. It was the kind of response that tells you this is not some naive kid who wanders into press conferences unprepared and gets caught off guard by loaded questions. This is a young man who has been in the arena long enough to know exactly what is happening when someone tries to bait him, and who has developed the skills and the fact delivered with absolute conviction. The French line was just the cherry on top, the moment where the audience realized they were watching someone who is genuinely quick, genuinely funny, and genuinely comfortable in his own skin.
Okay, not bad. Score prediction. Come on, Mom.
2-1.
2-1 who?
With him. 2-1.
2-1 who?
France, Senegal.
Okay, Mom, name me 5 people on France.
I just know one. Mbappe.
Mbappe.
Yeah.
It is worth noting that this is the same Ben Shelton who, not long ago, was still being described as a rising star with enormous potential. That description has not changed, but what has changed is the sense that Shelton is no longer a player who is finding his feet in the big moments. He is arriving. And moments like this press conference, which have nothing to do with tennis and everything to do with personality and presence, only add to the picture of someone who is going to be a major figure in this sport for a very long time. His teammates in spirit, if not on the actual field, are feeling the World Cup energy just as strongly. Taylor Fritz, the top-ranked American tennis player, a man who has never been shy about his love of soccer, sparked his own wave of reactions in Europe this week, once again making his admiration for Cristiano Ronaldo known and giving Manchester United fans on the continent yet another reason to claim a tennis player as one of their own. Fritz has spoken multiple times about soccer being a genuine passion for him, not just a casual interest. And in a World Cup year hosted on American soil, that passion is running at full volume. But let us zoom back out to the bigger picture here, because there is something genuinely exciting and historically significant happening in the world of sports right now that goes beyond any individual moment or viral clip. This FIFA World Cup is different. The United States has hosted this tournament before, back in 1994, and it was a massive success, but this time feels different. The game has grown exponentially in America since then. The cultural conversation around soccer has shifted. There are major league teams with passionate fan bases in cities across the country. There are American players competing at the highest levels in Europe. And with the tournament being shared between the USA, Mexico, and Canada, there is a regional energy to this event that feels genuinely electric. When Coco Gauff says she wants to see the USA win the World Cup, she is saying something that would have sounded like a fantasy just a decade ago, but now feels, to many people, like a legitimate dream. The USA's opening match, that it has become a cultural moment for the United States, a chance to showcase the country on the world's biggest sporting stage and maybe, just maybe, do something no American team has ever done before. Meanwhile, the tennis world watches and participates from the sidelines, because the timing of the World Cup and the grass court tennis season are colliding in the most delicious way imaginable this year. While the world's attention is split between Wimbledon warm-ups and World Cup group stages, the sport's biggest stars are navigating both conversations simultaneously, posting ice cream videos in Berlin, clapping back at journalists in press rooms, and getting their bodies and minds ready for the slick, fast, unpredictable surface that separates grass court champions from everyone else. Coco Gauff stepping into her Berlin tournament is not just a casual warm-up. It is the opening chapter of what could be a defining grass court run for a player who has everything she needs to go all the way at Wimbledon. The power, the movement, the mental fortitude, and now, after her period of rest and reflection, the emotional clarity that might be the most dangerous weapon of all. She has spoken about her ambitions on the fresh energy, the support of fans who never stopped believing, and the World Cup electricity lighting up the cities she is traveling through. All of it creates a portrait of a player who is not just returning to competition. She is returning on her own terms, with her own purpose, powered by something deeper and more sustainable than external pressure or external expectation. She is playing for health. She is playing for joy. She is playing for the people who matter. And honestly, that might be the most dangerous version of Coco Gauff the tennis world has ever seen. Because here is the truth about athletes who find that inner peace, who strip away the noise and reconnect with the fundamental love of what they do. They tend to do extraordinary things. They tend to surprise people. They tend to show up in moments when the stakes are highest and produce performances that remind everyone in the building and everyone watching at home exactly why they fell in love with this person in the first place. So to the fans who have been waiting, who have been sending love into the void and hoping it found its way to her, it did. Coco said it herself. She feels good. She feels blessed. She feels the support. And she is back. And to the Chatterbox family, we feel you too. Your loyalty through our absence means everything, and we are not taking it for granted. We are back. We are energized, and we have so much more coming your way. This channel exists because of you. Full stop. And we are ready to give you everything we have got. So if you enjoyed today's story, Coco's beautiful message, the ice cream moment that broke the internet in the best possible way, Ben Shelton's legendary press conference moment that had the whole world talking, and the World Cup fever that has swept up everyone from Berlin to Beverly Hills, then please hit that like button right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it means the world to us. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you backing the USA in this World Cup? Do you fear just getting started?
To remember most about me, probably my will to never give up. I think, when I want to finish and retire from my career, I just want to look back and say I gave it my all and gave it my 100%. I don't have any regrets. So that's why every match I try to go out there and just leave it all out on the court.